Here I am, in the place to be. Mr. K&B, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop. What up, y'all? It's K&B, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for our Paper Saber universe, and this is the Sexy Ninjacast. This is a podcast about K&B's loves, interests, life, mental state, reviews, reactions, things I love inside my bubble. And we're talking about a movie that I've been waiting for called Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Score by Junkie XL, Tom Holkenborg. Great score. I love me some Junkie XL, man. Directed by Zack Snyder, story by Zack Snyder, screenplay by Kurt Johnstad and Shay Hayton. But this movie has been the talks of the nerd community or just community in general. But I got to get something off my chest just real quick. I get it. I'm a content creator, I'm a podcaster, I'm a vlogger, I'm all these things, that whatever labels they have out there for anybody that creates anything, I get it. We want likes, we want subscribes, we want views, we want to be noticed, and because we have things we want to say off our chest. The things I don't like, especially like on a TikTok, is this copy, cut, paste bullshit of reviewers who are holding they have the little headphone in, they got the little microphone in their hand, holding it with their, holding it right there by their mouth and like, hey guys, and they have the little weird green screen bullshit thing behind them with the poster and whatnot. It just looks terrible. And, they're like, this is the worst movie ever. How was this movie ever made? I'm like, okay, well, tell me why. Well, let me tell you, the movie's horrible. It's terrible. Then why is it terrible and horrible? Because it's terrible and horrible. And I'm like, it's not a review. that's just like automatically like, here, we're going to put the bag of shit on the front porch and just tell you like, that's it. Well, how come? How did that bag of shit get to the front porch then, to make you not like this movie? Well, I just don't like it. Okay, well, fuck you. I don't want to listen to your review then because it's not a review. So it drives me a little crazy. And I know there's people out there like, oh, come on, man, you're just an old guy, whatever. No, it's not that. It's just like there needs to be some context to the content I watch. Not automatically these cut and paste, reviewers who do the same exact thing. I think that's the problem is they do the same exact thing. And, when you're scrolling through, because, they want the views, they want the likes, they want the subscribes. I get it. Add a little more to what you're trying to say, There is some TikTokers, reviewers, TikTokers, it sounds so funny, that I actually do kind of follow because I'm like, hey, I like their opinion and I like the reviews because they're more in depth of what they're talking about. And some of them have some really nice setups in the desk and whatnot. Others just try to do the green screen, or they just try to grab a thing and hold the thing like, and I'm like, I like people who put a little bit more into the product itself of what they're trying to sell, So that's just my 2 cents on that. I just had to get that out. But let's talk Rebel Moon, baby. Part 1, Child of Fire. Zack Snyder's epic sci-fi saga that he's created. And I think the problem, a lot of other in-depth reviewers I saw was Star Wars as a label is attached to this. Star Wars is a reference for this movie. And what I mean is it's in the sense of everybody comparing it to Star Wars. Because this was a pitch that Zack threw to Lucasfilm. They said no, rejected it, and move on. So Zack took this to Netflix, changed some things around, and said, here we go. This is my sci-fi epic, and I want to do it, and Netflix picked it up. And he has a great partnership with Netflix, and because they've did a couple of his movies, here, and he's got Rebel Moon Part 2 coming up, The Scargiver, and this was his sci-fi epic. Is there hints of Star Wars inside this? Yes, because he probably is influenced by Star Wars. A lot of actors are. Not actors. A lot of directors are. They really like Star Wars is one of those things where like, man, how did that happen? How did this like movie like just come together, and all this and that. And that's the beauty of filmmaking. That's the beauty of a movie. So fast forward to 2023 and now almost 2024, any movie that comes out, the first thing I see when people say like, oh, well, that's from this. Oh, that's from this. Oh, they stole from this. They stole from that. I think with Zack, he was influenced by all the sci-fi stuff he loves. He took a few things here and there that he loves from Star Wars, and maybe some other things and stuff like that. George Lucas did the same thing with Star Wars. Those old school Westerns and stuff like that, and the Flash Gordons and whatnot. He was very inspired by that kind of stuff. And, all these epics from his past, that he took little elements here and there to create Star Wars. And I think that's what directors do, is they're influenced, like, oh man, and it's like any movie. When you hear a director talk about their movie, like, oh yeah, I did this because of this and blah, blah, and this is this, like the blades, the lightsabers in quotations, but they're not. They're Oracle steel held by Nemesis, who's played by Bae Duna, and she's fucking awesome in this movie. Everybody's awesome in this movie. And the Empire in this movie is the Motherworld. Motherworld is the big evil in this universe. And the main bad guy is Admiral Atticus Noble. He's part machine / clone ? That's what I kind of got with the ending. Spoilers. Going into this, our main hero is Korra. She's Motherworld soldier, warrior, whatever you want to call her, but she was in the military, and played by Sophia Botella. And I was like, who is she? Where's she from? And I was like, oh, Star Trek. Okay, I really like her. Like, I like the character itself of Korra. She is broken. She doesn't know if she wants love in her life, just because, she went through so much. And there's a really great scene with Gunnar, who is the farmer, played by Michael Huseman. And there's a really great moment between the two, because it starts off with, the king, who's played by Carrie Ellis, which was pretty cool. I was like, is that Carrie Ellis? I was like, okay, that's cool. And the king was killed, so the Motherworld, they're spreading across the universe, causing chaos, killing farms, taking resources and whatnot. And all for the king, and after the king was slayed, like, this is what's going on. So Admiral Atticus and the Noble goes to this planet, finds these farmers, and this is where Korra's at. And she's living with this older guy that found her, brought her into the community, brought her into the family and whatnot. And after they get done doing their, going through doing farm stuff, I don't have anything else besides doing farm stuff, and Hagen, who's the leader of this farm. And I like, he's like, yes, to the harvest. And you know what we do? To commemorate the harvest, we fuck. So all y'all, I'm telling you right now, I better hear some howling and hooting and whatnot. He's like, you all better fuck. But I just found that funny. I was just like, okay. He was very adamant about it too, because he grabs his woman and starts kissing her. But Gunnar, he's in love with Korra, but Korra is resistant to it, and she goes back to her place, and that older guy, I thought I wrote his name down, but he's the one telling her, like, hey, you need to find somebody. I brought you into this community because I could have left you, I could have done this and that. And Korra's just like, no, I don't want that. I don't need it, because she's broken as a person, she went through this traumatic thing of being from, like, getting her home world killed, then being taken by her new father figure, then being shaped into a soldier and whatnot, and then turning on them, and now coming here and being like, oh, I became something that I feared the most, was when these guys killed my home world, then I got ranked into this, and then I am the same person doing the same thing to another little kid that I did, and that makes me the monster. So she's just trying to live her life here. But of course, all good things come to an end. Admiral Atticus Noble comes on his dreadnoughts or whatever. These really big ships that look like they just took him out of the ocean and threw him in space. Really beautiful. This movie's really beautiful. And it's everything you can expect in a Zack Snyder film. the slow motion and abs and very close to detail stuff and whatnot. And but this dreadnought thing that comes, and Admiral Acticus comes down, and he's like, hey, he meets with Hagen, and Cora, she rings the bell before they come down, and everyone's like, oh, Gunner is like, hey, maybe we could tell them about resources, and Hagen's like, yo, man, what if we tell them that you've been trading to rebellion, the rebellion that's out there, the blood axes, as they call them. And Hagen's like, no. Then Cora's like, yo, if I'm going to tell you this, don't give them anything, because they will take everything. And so Hagen agrees to it. They meet with Admiral Acticus, and he comes down, and they're talking. He's like, hey, let's go have an ale, me and you. They go up there, and they're talking, and he goes, well, what could you spare? He goes, we really don't have any resources to spare. We're a small farm community and everything like that. This is who we are and this and that. And here comes Gunner, opening up his fucking mouth, saying like, well, we could kind of spare some things. Not a lot, but we could spare some things, because he thinks he's doing a favor for the community by connecting with the Motherworld army and stuff like that, so they can kind of get resources for his community. I get what he was trying to do, but at the same time, when he opened his mouth, I was like, fuck. Hagen's dead. And he does get killed by Admiral Atticus with this crazy billy club type thing. I thought this thing was fucking cool. Just smacks right to the temple, the way he uses this thing. But, and after Admiral Acticus kills Hagen, he goes to Gunner. He goes, well, how long? He goes, tell me, how fucking long you can get me my resources? And then he tells him how much he wants. And Gunner's like, well, that ain't going to keep us sustained, And he goes, 10 months, or 10 cycles or whatever they call years here in this new world universe. But he tells him like 10 something. And he goes, okay. Admiral's like, I will be back then. I will leave a little bit of my crew here to watch y'all and make sure that it gets done and I get my harvest. I get whatever resources I can still take from y'all. And so Cora, her first thing was like, I'm on dip. Fuck this. She's like packing up and everything like that. And while this is happening, you got the soldiers who's coming in. We meet Jimmy, this robot that was for the old king, an old king's guard or whatever, voiced by Anthony Hopkins, and basically treated like dirt, because he's from the past. They use him to carry on stuff and whatnot. And after he gets thrown in the mud, and this kid saves him, and he meets the water girl. Shit, I should have wrote her name down too. But they call her Water Girl, so I'm just gonna go with that. Meets her. He goes and cleans himself off in the mud, and he talks to her, and she befriends him and tells him like, hey, and he's talking. He's like, you remind me of the Princess Issa, and this Princess Issa is the seeds of Princess Issa is here and there, and she's supposed to be this beacon of hope, and she can bring things back to life and whatnot. Like she's this mythical thing that's played by Stella Gracie Fitzgerald, and that's a point that's put across. And Jimmy, like after she touched his steel face, and he gets all like blush, and he's like, oh, and then she puts this little flower things on top of his head. And he, you could tell right there that was a moment for the character to be like, oh, what am I doing with my existence right now? Being thrown around, pushed in the dirt and stuff like that. Then we cut back to Cora. She is about to run, and the guy that she's living with tells him like, hey, I brought you into this community because I could have just left you, but I had a change of heart, and this is your moment to save your community of people that you've connected with, that you've befriended. Everybody that's here, we all have each other's back, And Cora's like, no, can't do this. So as she's leaving, she's getting on these crazy looking, I can't remember the names, but these epic horses, they're fucking huge. And as she's leaving, like the soldiers, they get a little frisky. They get the water girl, and they're going to do some terrible things. And there's one kid in the bunch that tries to save her and help her because they're in this barn. And the main soldier guy's like, hey, I'll take a crack at her before everybody else does. And here we get the hero's moment of Cora exposing herself as a fucking badass. She just comes in and starts laying waste to these guys. Of course, a little bit of help. Then right when it gets down to the end where the main general guy is like holding the water girl and with the pistol and everything like that, he's like, I'll kill her. And Cora's standing right there. And here comes Jimmy. And he's like, hey, I order you to kill them right now. He picks up this gun, and boom, kills the general. Stops, realizes what he did, drops it because he saved the water girl, the one he said she looked like the princess, and he runs off. And that's the last time, well, almost last time we see Jimmy for the rest of the movie. And so he takes off, and everyone's like, oh, Korra's a badass? Oh, you're ex-Motherworld soldier? Like, this is when that's revealed. And at that point, she's like, well, shit. If we're going to do this, I need to get a crew together, and we need an army. So she tells Gunner, like, hey, those connections you had, maybe we can get to General Titus. We can get to the Blood Axes and everything like that. Maybe we can go do that. So they both team up, and they go off, jump on the horses, and try to get something. So in the month's time, when Admiral Acticus comes back, they can fight to save this community. So they go off, and there's this really great scene where the two are sitting there, and Korra's talking. She talks about her past and everything like that. And he was like, why was your first instinct was they're going to take everything? She tells Gunner her entire past of how terrible she was and became this killer and everything. Then it comes back. She goes, the only reason why I told you that story is because, and the reason why they'll take everything is because it's what I would have done in her ranks, back in the day. So that it sets up there and stuff like that. And I really like that scene. I really, really do, because it gives you more of like why she doesn't want to be in love, why she's so disconnected from everything and all that. And it's really cool. We move over. We meet Kai, the thief, the pilot, at this bar after a really strange interaction with Korra and Gunner. And this the pig-looking weird thing, smushy thing, comes up and just grabs Gunner by the dick. And it's just like, hey, I'll take you upstairs, and by tomorrow morning, you're going to be begging me for more. I'm like, whoa. And Korra's like, hey, mine. Step away from him. Cause interaction. Bam, she takes out this dude. Dude leaves. Dude comes back with more of his crew, and it gets into this big shootout in this bar. And after that, and Kai steps in and helps a little bit, and he's like, hey, yeah, I got a ship. I'll take you, because after they realized that that they have to get off this planet to go find General Titus. Also, too, Darian Bloodaxe, who's played by Ray Fisher, and they go, and Kai's like, hey, I'll take y'all, and they're like, okay, Gunner, and now we got the three. I thought it was gonna be a core three, but as we go fly off and whatnot. And Korra's like, we need soldiers. We need to find warriors. And Kai's like, I got somebody. And then we meet this guy named Tarak, who's played by Staz Nair. Hope I said that right. And he's a badass. I guess he's in debt to this dude in the desert. And the dude in the desert, his automatic thing is like, if you can, this crazy bird eagle thing, like this thing was epic looking. Like, if you can tame that, you can leave. If not, all y'all are in shackles. And they all make the deal. Tarak goes out there, an epic cool flying scene and whatnot, but he tames the beast enough so much he can get free, and the beast can kill the dude. And Tarak's like, yeah, that's right. I think he's native, a native warrior. That's what I got from him. But that's what's so cool. Now we're getting everybody. Then we go meet Nemesis, who's a swordswoman with this oracle steel, as Zack Snyder was calling it, that glows, and she has these gauntlets and whatnot. And she's a badass. There's this really cool, crazy, they go into this underworld thing, and they're trying to tell her, like, Kai's like, hey, we need you. We need you to help us, and this and that. And she's like, okay, well, let me go take care of this. And then she fights this crazy spider-looking thingy that steals the children and whatnot. But, and it's just a crazy moment, especially when those oracle steels start to glow. You're like, oh, my God. Of course, kills Spider, a little bit of help. Gunner went and tried to save the kids, showing Korra, like, oh, and their relationship is building, especially after this. They're on the ship, on Kai's ship, and they're like, hey, we're mingling, we're connecting and whatnot. So it definitely was something that I'm enjoying those two's relationship. And I'm glad automatically it wasn't like, oh my gosh, they're going to start fucking, No, it was a slow build. Then we go and get General Titus, old Empire general, old Motherworld general and everything like that. He's drunken and this and that. And Korra tells him, like, hey, let's get revenge. Revenge is the key here for us as ex-Motherworld soldiers. What they did to your men and everything like that. So I really like that. That was the key point of like, hey, let's do this for the people that died, the people that we've hurt. Let's get a revenge on the Motherworld Empire. And now all this is going on. Admiral Atticus is out there. He was told like, hey, we got somebody that told us like, hey, meet us here. This is going on. And then here we go on with the crew. We go and meet Darien Bloodaxe and his sister. They're part of the Rebel Alliance and everything. This king came and gave them shelter for now to help them because they want the Motherworld gone. They want that then destroyed. And Darien's like, hey, we'll help them. And he gets a few of his soldiers like, hey, let's go. And this point in the movie is where the twist comes because Kai, out of nowhere, just tells Korra like, hey, let's, I got to go drop off some shipments. And I don't want that debt on me, but I'll help you because I know you want my help. And Korra's like, I never said that. And he's like, yeah, he's doing his charm, that charm of his right there. And if you don't know him, this is Charlie. He also played at Sons of Anarchy, but I love this actor. I really do. And him as Kai was great. And so they go to this port. Korra feels like something's wrong. Kai turns on the crew, turns on the whole crew. He's like, hey, as soon as I heard that I got this general that's really wanted, as soon as I heard I got Darien Bloodaxe who's really wanted, as soon as I heard about you and your name, and I was like, oh my God, it's payday. So he sells him out to Admiral Atticus, and Gunner, the poor farm guy, he's like sitting there, and Kai tells him like, hey man, we'll get out of this. I want you to kill her, then we can go. But he of course he's not going to kill Korra, but he helps her escape, and boom, we get a big action sequence on this bridge and whatnot, and Kai dies, and I'm like, oh, I was really hoping Kai was going to be like, I'm double crossing everybody. Like, I double cross you, Korra, and the crew, and then I double cross Admiral Atticus so I can get my money, and then I'm back like, hey, it was business. But now we have money. We have money to fund this, whatever. But no, Kai dies. Darien Bloodaxe, Ray Fisher died. Like, I was like the character, Darien Bloodaxe, like he died. I'm like, oh, what's the consequences going to be there? Because his sister was against this. His sister was like, no, we don't need to help them, And he's like, hey, they were just like us. They're just fighting back. And that's what we did when we're fighting back is this rebellion. And beforehand, when we cut to the Admiral Atticus killing everybody on that planet and destroying it with his dreadnought and stuff like that, and showing how evil Admiral Atticus is. So this is going on, big fight between Korra and Atticus. They're on this crazy thing, with his little billy club and whatnot, and of course she gets the upper hand, and I was like, oh, and then I thought she killed him. I was like, oh, okay, I guess, all right, and after the climax of this, Bloodaxe is dead, Kai's dead. They get the ship and they take off. They go back to the planet where the farm's at, the farm community. And then they get on those big crazy horses, and as they're riding towards it, and then Jimmy gets up. He has this crazy crown looking thing on now. Like he's found peace with himself, and hopefully he joins them for the fight. And that's it. This was part one. And then we cut to Admiral Atticus. They get him. They pull him in. They put him in this weird sack thing, a back to tank, if you will. All these wires connected to him, and I think he's a clone. And as he goes into this like weird world between worlds, I'm sorry for the Star Wars references, world between worlds thing, and he tells him like, hey, you better get your shit together. Then he gets kicked out of the sack, and he's like, okay. And then we end the movie there. Then it's like, okay, now we're on to Rebel Moon Part 2, the Scar Giver. I watched the next trailer, and I was like, oh man, I'm invested. I already bought the novelization from Barnes & Noble. As soon as I watched it, I was like, I want to get more in depth into this universe that Zack Snyder created. I really like this movie. I really do. I love the scores. I love the acting. I dig the story. The story isn't breaking new ground. It's a very simple story. Motherworld comes. They're going to destroy this community. This is Korra's community, so then she decides she wants to help. So she gets a band of this team together, and bada bing, bada boom, she's got a badass team, and now they're going to go. But I want to know, too, what's going to be the fallout with Bloodaxe, Darien dying, with his sister. Will she forgive them? Will she come and help? in honor of her brother, because it was the Motherworld Army that killed him. So that's another aspect. And I was like, hey, okay, cool. And I see a lot of people like, oh, this movie just seems half-baked. I think the reason why people think this is a half-baked story is because it kind of is. This is a part 1 to a part 2, so we're not getting the full story yet. It ends with no real ending. It ends more of a cliffhanger, and that's the one thing I know, like, Doug, he absolutely hates this sort of thing. Like, with what happened at Fast X, there's no ending. It was like, okay, this is the stopping point. Now we're going to go on to part 2. Now you got to wait. At least we're getting Rebel Moon part 2 really quick, which I'm very excited for. But I'm going to watch this movie a couple more times to get more elements that I really liked. I love the creatures, man. I love too that Korra has this really crazy looking gun holster. This gun that has, kind of gold leaves on it and stuff like that. She's a badass. She is a badass. And I really like Sophia portraying this character. I really like the crew. Now it's Korra, hopefully Jimmy, Gunner, General Titus, and Tarak. I want to see more of him. So we'll see, man. And no, Nemesis. Nemesis is great, too. Well, and I want to see those blades light up again. So I really enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun, and I like taking new adventures, especially into the stars and whatnot. And Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child on Fire, gets a big thumbs up from me. I really, really enjoyed it. I give it a 5 out of 5, to be honest, just because I really like this movie. I really do. And I've been thinking about it. It's funny. It's like my wife was laughing because as I was taking notes and stuff, and then she's like, every time the characters popped up, I was like, Kai, Korra, Darian, Gunner, General Titus. I kept doing that. And Tarak, Nemesis. Like, I kept doing it. She's like, why are you doing it? I was like, because I want to be invested and remember their names. And Admiral Acticus, now that he's back, he is the big baddie of this movie. So I can't wait to see where we go from there. I cannot wait for Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. Bring me more. I'm definitely going to watch this again. Beautiful score, Junkie XL and Tom, everything. Like I said, I can't wait to see where the Princess Issa thing kind of evolves and everything like that. What really happened, who killed the king, who slayed the king and whatnot, the truth about that. So it's all pointing in different directions. I want more on Korra's father figure in the Motherworld army and whatnot. We got a little bit of it and why he died and how she went on and then she became a bodyguard to Princess Issa and talking about Princess Issa bringing things back to life. And there's a really cool moment where she's watching her and her dog goes and grabs a bird and the bird's dead. And then she grabs the bird and brings the bird to life. So it's like, okay, there's a little bit more there, a little bit more meat on the bone. We're going to see what happens. And I want to see all these other things play off. So we'll see when we get there. But okay, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, directed by Zack Snyder. I'm in. I'm in to see where we're going with this. I really do like this movie, though. I really do. And I was dreaming about this movie last night before I got to do my review. So tell me what you thought of the movie. Drop those comments below. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. Share it with your grandma. Share it with your grandpa. Share it with the bum down at Walmart. Let's talk, folks. Let's get our nerd on and talk about Rebel Moon. All right, y'all. I'm KMB the Sexy Ninja. And remember, stay sexy, ninjas. Whoop, whoop!
Welcome to the wicked shit.